Boys and girls, welcome back to the most exciting 5 minutes in sports that you're ever going to see. Welcome back to the channel. We went 2-3 yesterday on our picks that we gave out and felt really good about them. Had some really crappy losses yesterday. Belmont, man, that pissed me off. We had Belmont -1. They're winning the whole game and just on themselves at the end of the game. Northern Iowa, who lost a day of rest on the road, had one of their games rescheduled from Sunday to Monday, came in on Wednesday, and just fought and fought and fought. And I mean, these teams were shooting like 40% from the foul line in the game. It was a tough watch. I watched the last few minutes of it, and it was just, one of those things where like you're watching a team self-implode that you have money on, and it just sucks. So that was a tough one last night. SMU Notre Dame, that was not a tough one. That was an absolute drubbing. Notre Dame had no chance. SMU, fantastic game from them. Kentucky -5. Kentucky took care of business yesterday against Vandy like they needed to do. That one has a revenge game for them. They lost to Vandy earlier in the year, so that one I was kind of, all over that one. Bama +1.5. Anybody who watched that game, nobody can tell me that they saw Missouri coming out on fire like that. Missouri is a good team, don't get me wrong, but they're nowhere near Alabama. And we thought with Bama coming off the loss to Auburn, you don't want to lose 2 games in a row in conference. 2 offensive teams, really, there's no resistance from Missouri's defense. Auburn has a better defense, so even though you see, a scoring outburst from those teams, you don't suspect that Missouri is going to be able to stop a team like Alabama, and eventually they're going to get what they need and win that game. And it just never happened. The game got to within 6 points a few times in the second half, once late, but Missouri just too much at home. I think they scored like 110 points in regulation, which is absurd for college basketball. So bit the dust on that one. And then Nebraska was never close. Nebraska probably thought their game started 45 minutes after the game actually started. Penn State is not a good team, not a good program for college basketball, and they had it going last night. What more can I say on that one? So a 2-3 day, a tough day. 2-3 is not as bad as 0-5, so we feel like we're right there on a lot of these reads when we do miss. So we like the way that it's going, and we want to try to stay on the train here and try to keep things going. So. Let's try to give you some more winners tonight. The NBA is back. Woohoo! We've done extremely well in the NBA this year. So we have more NBA picks than college. The college slate kind of is tonight. So let's get into it real quick. First one, this should be no surprise to anyone who's been following along since we started. We're on the Denver Nuggets team total over 122.5. They are playing Charlotte. If you watched Charlotte play last night, 100-97 against the Lakers. So you're like, oh, man, this team doesn't give up many points. And you're right. They don't score a lot. They don't give up a lot. But that's why we're on Denver. Denver got Aaron Gordon, Russell Westbrook, and Michael Porter Jr. back, as far as I know, for tonight's game. And with those guys back, without them, they were scoring 130 points. So with those guys at home, at altitude, Charlotte coming off back-to-back, having to go play in altitude, I expect Denver to run them out of the gym. Denver is -16.5. I don't hate that one either, but for all intents and purposes of the pick, we're going to go with Denver to do their job and score 123 points or more. So that's our first pick. Second pick, we're going to go to another spread pick. As I was getting ready to make this video, the breaking news came out about Wemby having a blood clot in his shoulder. Hope that kid gets better soon, man. He is the future of the NBA. But with all that being said, we want to think that the line will jump even more in that game. I already liked Phoenix -1.5. But now Phoenix -2.5 is what I got it at, and I'm all over that one. So that's the pick we're going to give out now. That line may go to 4 or 5 by game time. I think Wemby is definitely one of the players in the league worth 3 or 4 points. So with him being out, I really like that line. It's just a Wemby thing. It's nothing other than, I don't really have any other statistics to go off of that game other than like the Spurs are down their best player. Just found out he's out for the season. Morale's probably going to be low. They're at home. The fans are not going to be as excited. It's kind of just like, you might have traveled from France to come see this game, and you are not going to see him play because he has a blood clot in his shoulder. So, again, get well soon for Wemby, but we're not going to be taking any Spurs bets anytime soon. So I'm on the Suns -2.5. We're going to go to New York. The Bulls are coming into town to take on the Knicks. And we like the under in this game. It started out at 242.5. It's gotten up to 244. And I don't see why. The Bulls and the Knicks played once this season in New York already. And the Bulls won 124-123. So that was 247 points. That would go over this total. They met another time in Chicago. I believe it went over the total too. But you have to remember that Zach LaVine played in both of those games. And he doesn't play on their team anymore. So I don't like... I think the Knicks come out of the All-Star break. They play some defense. They hustle. They realize that they've given up quite a few points to this team in the few times that they've played them this year, and they don't want to do that again. I expect the Knicks to score. I just don't expect the Bulls to score as much. I was looking at their Bulls team total under. I saw that on another site. And I think that was at 116 or 117 points, and I don't mind that either. I don't know if the Bulls get to that either. I think the Knicks come out with a focus for the second half of the season, and the Bulls are going to be the first victim. The line is at -13, so I think the Bulls are expected to get their butt kicked, and I think the Knicks just play enough defense tonight that this total doesn't get in threat. So we're going to go under 244 in that game. And then we got two props in the NBA that we want to give out. First one, Josh loves this one. I love it too. Jarrett Allen in the first quarter to get over 2.5 rebounds. I'm not going to lie, this one is juiced. I think it's juiced at like 145 or 165. So this is more of like a prop that you would use in a parlay, which again, we don't give out parlays on the channel, although all bettors make parlays, and this is one that you would want to throw into a parlay. You may want to parlay it with the other prop that I'm going to give out here shortly, because we really love both of these, but just as single one-off picks, these are picks that we have confidence in you using and winning. What you choose to do with them and how you build them out is up to you, obviously, but so Jarrett Allen to go over 2.5 rebounds in the first quarter. 7 of the last 10 games that he's played in against Brooklyn, which is who their opponent is, he's gone over this total. So 70% of the time he's hitting this. He plays enough minutes in the first quarter. Brooklyn is atrocious. So I expect Cleveland to get up early, and I expect him to be able to cradle in some of these missed shots, grab an offensive rebound. He needs 3 rebounds in the first quarter. He usually plays somewhere between 7 and 9 minutes in the first quarter. So we like that one. And then we're going to go back to Denver. A guy who's really stepped up in the absence of these other guys is Christian Braun. And his total in the first quarter for his prop of scoring has been 4.5 for the last few games. It's come back down to 3.5 because of the absence of some of these wings that are now back. And they do take shots from him. But the thing with him is he's been playing 10-plus minutes in the first quarter of all these games. So we like him to get some run. In 11 of his last 14 games, he's gone over 3.5 points in the first quarter. So we like him to do that again. Again, they're playing a Charlotte team. They're going to want to get out and run. They're at home post-All-Star break. I think this kid Charlotte is very loose with the ball, and I think this kid gets a steal, he gets a dunk, he gets out in transition. He's one of the league leaders in transition scoring in the NBA, if not the leader. That stat came from Josh. And he's averaging 4 shot attempts per first quarter over his last 10 games. So the volume is there. We need him to make 2 out of 4. We need him to make a 3 and get to the foul line. There's all sorts of ways that he can get us there, but we like that one too. So, and then our last pick is going to be one that I like. This is coming from college basketball. I really don't love the slate at all tonight, especially because we've been digesting it for a week straight. And NBA is back, so it's exciting to kind of pivot onto that. But Northern Arizona is at home against Idaho. Northern Arizona is -2.5 points at home. I like them to win this game by 5 or 6, maybe more. They've played once this season at Idaho, and Northern Arizona won that game 80-72. Northern Arizona scores 77 points a game. Idaho is not an offensive basketball team. So I don't think, if this game got played in Idaho and Idaho didn't control the pace there, then Idaho is going to be Idaho tonight. And Northern Arizona takes care of business, -2.5. So quick recap here. Let's get this video out. Denver team total over 122.5. Phoenix Suns -2.5. I'd take that up to -4 if you're wondering what the cutoff point is. I expect a lot of money to come in the next couple of hours on that game. Bulls and Knicks under 244 points. Jarrett Allen, first quarter, 2.5 rebounds. We like the over on that. And then Christian Braun, Denver Nuggets, first quarter, over 3.5 points. And Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks of Northern Arizona, to win by 2.5 points at home against the Idaho Vandals. Follow us on Twitter. We'll probably give out some sort of college basketball or NBA picks. There's just too many games on. We don't want to flood with picks on a video, but we probably will add some stuff on Twitter. So spreads and props. Shout out Big Man Krantz for all that you do for the channel. And let's go green tonight. Let's make some money.